Salam to you all. My name's Omar bin Musa, also known as OBM. I come from Queanbeyan, New South Wales, Struggle Town, the 2620. I think the last time I was in this building, I was studying visual arts for the HSC, and I didn't even have an email address at the time, so things done changed. So several years ago, I watched a poetry performance. The poet was an articulate and earnest young man. Using sculpted, alluring cadence and choreographed hand gestures, the young man spoke of love and humanity, the individual, community, and technology. He decried a thing we call the internet, saying it ruins the way we interact with each other as human beings. But what struck me, even more than the young man's impassioned wordplay, was that I was watching his performance on a thing called the internet. His intimate set in a New York club had been uploaded, posted, tweeted, retweeted, quoted, virally shuttled across the world several times over before a mate tagged me on Facebook and I watched it in HD on a 13-inch screen. Like television, this thing we call the internet inspires fear and loathing and sneering, but obviously none of us can seem to live without it. What is it that inspires these feelings? Is it the terror that some lurching shadow ferrets through our private messages with spindly fingers? Or that pornos warp the way we thrust and arch in passion? That this wild, sleepless thing provides a portal for wolves in coated sheep's clothing to paw at our young? That with each click we open a stranger's room full of anesthetic clouds, clicktivism that renders us incapable of turning water into wine? That we become voyeur and voyee, that we are slaves to choice, that we come face to face with the prejudices and shamelessness and half-baked philosophies of our loved ones. That we are replacing emotion with emoticons, laughter with lols, that info is rushing at us way too fast. The misogyny speech, the Occupy movement, the Arab Spring, Russell Brand using arcane words, Miley Cyrus, Sinead O'Connor responding to Miley Cyrus, Amanda Palmer responding to Sinead O'Connor responding to Miley Cyrus, Kanye West, Kim K, Kim Ye, Kim Il-sung, Tony Abbott's wankery, Gangnam Style, and whatever did happen to Joseph Kony? Or is it the feeling, the helpless feeling of wandering unguided in an endless shambolic library, a 24-hour mall patrolled by charlatans and trolls, by political junkies keeping an eye on the polls, media critics and keyboard warriors who scroll furiously on toilet walls called YouTube comments, who inject themselves with narcotic likes, high with the power of voices they never previously had? Or, alternatively, is it the recognition that all instruments of information, though the lens may warp, distort, magnify, accelerate, break down, and recompose the world, are in fact mirrors of our beautiful, our brave, our petty, our ugly, our banal selves? They were created by us. They are us. And that is perhaps what terrifies us the most. I hear people say that the internet takes us further and further away from nature, but part of me suspects it reflects everything in our nature. We try to identify and label ourselves blackfella, footy player, feminist, activist, vegan, Malaysian-Australian rapper, Queanbeyan boy. So, in the swirl and reconfiguration of identities and communities, nationality melts, and the internet makes exiles of us all, exiles in a land of other exiles. The novelist Roberto Bolaño spoke much of exile. He wrote about people he met on the highways of poetry and narcotics, and he often repeated a phrase, almost a refrain, "and I never saw him again." Could that happen now? Now, wouldn't Mr. Bolaño simply type his mate's name into Google or Facebook and then Skype him? And what of the role of the internet in revolution, in providing bloggers under repressive regimes the means to tell stories that governments or media outlets won't, in the rejuvenation of feminism in public discourse, in collaboration, in cultural exchange, in cleanup efforts? So, as you erudite scallywags may have noticed, this is not even really a poem. It's kind of an incomplete, inadequate list of questions because, as a simple boy from the 2620, I have no answers. And to be honest, maybe I'm not even performing this piece for you guys in this room. Maybe I'm performing it for that guy on the other side of the world, watching the performance in HD on a 13-inch screen. All I know is that we are only just beginning to understand the effects of this great big chaos called the internet, where colors and code and keys and pixels and thumbnails have built up an enormous picture of our own face. Thanks, guys.